Am I wrong for not getting rid of my pets so my pregnant friend could stay with me? I 32 female have for rescue pigeons that cannot be released because of health reasons, e.g. can't fly. They're happy birds and have a good life. I live alone in inherited house and half of the top floor is converted into a big pigeon room where they have all their stuff. They're trained to potty in specific places but can roam around the house. Exception kitchen. They have their sleep places in the big room and are locked there at night for their safety. My friend, we're not really friends anymore. We were a long time ago. Now we just kind of know each other. Our lives moved down in totally opposite directions. 32 female, Chantel, has currently 2 kids and is 5 months pregnant with her third. Her partner was locked up a few months back and she's about to be evicted because she hasn't paid rent in 12 months. One day, out of the blue, she knocked on my door and started chatting. She told me everything and asked if it would be possible for me to let her move in and she'd pay rent. Refused, saying that I don't have the room for her and the kids. She told me I could get rid of my birds and they could take the room upstairs. I said that absolutely not, and unfortunately, I won't be able to help her. She freaked out, told me I was a selfish asshole, that I cannot are doing more about animals than humans, and a lot of other nasty things. I kicked her out. I rarely go on Facebook. I have my old one from uni, but I rarely go. Not even 24 hours after I kicked Chantel out, my other friend messaged me to log in to see what's happenings, and Chantel was slagging me off everywhere. Postings nasty things, and her friends joined her, and it was just so very nasty. I do feel bad though, and I wonder if they're right. Perhaps I am the asshole here. Should I have let her stay with me? Am I wrong for discriminating between my adopted siblings? I 29 female am my parents' only biological child. They always wanted more kids, however they couldn't have them. They adopted my brother when he was 2 and I was 16. Obviously I spent time with him and we really bonded. Even though I live away, we still text every day and hike to send him gifts of stuff that I know he likes just because it'll make him happy. Shortly before the lockdown, they took in a foster in her late teens. I obviously haven't had much contact with her and we don't really talk. I do send her a gift or vouchers for what I'm told are her favorite stores at her birthday and holiday time. But we just are not that close. Anyway, my parents called and said they wanted to talk to me because apparently she's hurt that my brother gets presents from me and she doesn't. It's this whole thing in the house now because my brother will proudly show whatever I bought him and she feels like I'm discriminating against her. I've been told to either buy them both gifts or to stop getting anything for my brother, and that I have to make an effort to call her too. My parents seem to think I'm bullying the girl, but I just don't feel close to her. Does that make me in the wrong? My brother is not flaunting, taunting, gloating, or bragging. He is autistic and gets very excited when he receives something to do with a special interest of his. He lacks impulse control BC of this and always wants to immediately show and talk about an item as soon as he gets it. I truly do not believe there is any malicious intent. Am I wrong for making something difficult for my son about myself? I had a son 18 years ago. My husband at the time pressured me into having a child despite knowing that I never wanted children. He then passed away in an accident and I was left alone with a child that I knew I could never care for like he deserved. I gave him up when he was a year old. I've tried my best to not think about him and have been living. I remarried and am alright. Well, he recently reached out and made it very clear he wasn't interested in a relationship. We met at a restaurant and he seemed very defensive and there was quite a lot of tension. He asked me a couple questions about certain mental illnesses running in the family and I answered all of them. While I was getting ready to leave, I asked him if he goes to college or university, just to get rid of some tension. He said he does and he even got a volleyball scholarship. I was a volleyball player too and got a scholarship for the same school. I told him what I mentioned, called it a cool coincidence. He rolled his eyes at me and said it isn't a coincidence if you're my biological mother. I didn't know what to say to that. I said I was sorry, but he kept rolling his eyes. I began to feel overwhelmed, and I know this isn't fair for me to say, but he was beginning to remind me of his father, and I ended up saying, look, I'm sorry, but I never wanted to be a mother. You're allowed to be angry, but please understand that I was forced into having a child I never wanted." He went away to play the victim before storming off. Safe to say, I feel terrible. The only people who know about this are my mother and sister, and even they said that I was only thinking about myself in that moment, and I shouldn't have brought up anything, and just answered his questions. They said that I made it about myself when it's clear that the kid was having a hard time facing me already. My sister even implied that I was a little self-centered. Maybe this isn't the best place to ask, but I'm too ashamed to talk about this to anyone else. My sister also said it wouldn't hurt. Am I in the wrong? Am I in the wrong for prioritizing my son's dog over my wife's pregnancy? When my son 14 was 8, we got a dog. He's half Great Dane and half some dog my friend's dog met during an unauthorized absence. My son loves this dog and does all the care for him except vet stuff and is a very responsible dog owner. This dog is pretty much his best friend. My wife is 12 weeks pregnant, and ever since we confirmed the pregnancy she has been acting weird around the dog. She avoids him, puts her hands over her stomach when he is around, and jolts whenever he makes noise. Today she told me she wants to rehome the dog. Asked her what she was talking about. She said she has been having anxiety that he will jump on her. This is completely unreasonable. He doesn't jump on people. We trained him not to jump on people or run into people very young because he is half Great Dane, and I felt this was important for all dogs, but especially one who could possibly grow to such a large size, which he did. There is no reason for her to think the dog will jump on her. She said that there is no way to know for sure that the dog won't jump on her, and if he does, our baby could be hurt. This dog has never so much as growled at her. She said even if the dog doesn't jump on her, her anxiety about it is bad for her health. She said she needs the dog elsewhere for her safety and the baby's. He told her that there was no way. My son got this dog right after he lost his mom and imprinted on him hard. Sometimes I think he loves the dog more than me. I'm not taking his dog. The dog didn't do anything. My wife said I am prioritizing the dog over her pregnancy. The dog isn't a threat to her pregnancy. If this were any other unreasonable request, I would just do it because she is pregnant. I just can't break my son's heart over a fear she has that makes no sense. Am I being a jerk? Am I wrong for giving my daughter's gifts to her? My ex and I have 50-50 custody of our daughter 15. We rotate holidays, and this Christmas was her turn. My family and I had planned a second Christmas for when my daughter comes back, to give her gifts and make sure she is not feeling left out. I make significantly more than my ex. My ex also has 2 other kids, female 12, female 9. On Christmas Day, my daughter called me and asked if she can video chat with me during the day. I asked her why she is not spending the day with her mom and siblings, and she said she doesn't want to go out and watch them opening their cool Christmas gifts when she didn't get much. Apparently the 12-year got a laptop and a pet, the 9-year got a new phone and Nintendo Switch from their mom while she gave my daughter a bag. I called her mom and asked her about the gifts, and she said this is her way of making things fair because my daughter gets so many gifts from me and my side of family when she can hardly afford to buy anything for her other kids. I told her it was still unfair for my child to watch her siblings open their cool presents when she only got a bag, and she told me our daughter is 15 and can handle this, and ended the call. I have 3 siblings who are all very generous with gifts and love spoiling the kids for Christmas, so I knew she must get a lot of good presents from them. I told them there is a change of plans and I want to send the Christmas gifts to my daughter today. There is no way I'm going to let my daughter just sit there and watch her siblings open their gifts when she looks miserable. I took all the gifts to my daughter's mom's home and gave them to her. My ex blew up at me and asked me what the heck is wrong with me bringing so many gifts and giving it to her in front of her siblings. I told her I don't think I did anything wrong. I was trying to make my daughter happy. She called me an asshole and told me to come and take the gifts back, which I refused to, and said we'll take them back when I take my daughter back. Am I wrong for not wanting to name my son after my wife's dead best friend? My wife Kate, 26 female, and I 28 male are expecting our first baby in about 3 months. We've been married for 2 years now and known each other for about 4. She's from a different state, so I don't personally know all of her childhood friends, extended family, and such. Long story short, we were finalizing baby name ideas and decided on first name Pete, last name. I was content until we mentioned the name around her mom, and she mentioned how beautiful it was and how it was a kind way to honor Pete. I'm awkward in person, so I waited until we were alone to ask Kate what her mom meant. Turns out Pete was Kate's best friend from grade school on up. Unfortunately, Pete got addicted to hard drugs and passed away about 3 years before I met Kate. Her excuse for not telling me was it's hard to talk about him. While understand the sentiment, I don't want my son carrying the name of not only someone my wife lost but also an addict. I've suggested other names we both considered in the past, but Kate refuses to budge. Just don't get why she wants to be reminded of something so horrible every time she calls our son's name. Am I in the wrong? Am I wrong for not wanting to engage with my niece about her birthday? My niece's birthday is in mid-December. My son was in the hospital almost the entire month of December. During that time, I rarely went anywhere except for work and occasionally home to get clean clothes. My dad and sister also frequently came over to help with things, bring food, sit with him while I took a shower, things like that. I did not attend my niece's birthday, wasn't even thinking about it at all. I also forgot to text her happy birthday. My dad also missed her birthday because he was helping with stuff at the hospital. So no one from her mom's side of the family was there, except for her mom. Now that my son is back home, my sister and her husband brought my niece to visit. At one point after my son fell asleep, my niece said to me, "Just so you know, it really hurt my feelings that you didn't wish me a happy birthday, not even a text." Was a little myth that she would hold on to something like that when my son and I just went through something horrible, but birthdays are a big deal when you are 15. So I just said it slipped my mind. Happy birthday. My brother-in-law said she was pretty upset no one from your side of the family was there. I just stared at him for a second. Yeah, I was at the hospital with my son. Kind of weird that you forgot that. He said I didn't forget, but you took over everyone's attention for a month. I don't think it's too much to ask that you apologize to my daughter for making her grandfather miss her birthday. My sister said that we should talk about something else. But I said I thought it would be better to cut the visit short, since my son was already asleep anyway. My niece said, "So you would rather us leave than acknowledge you hurt my feelings?" I said yes. My sister gave me a hug and said they would visit at a better time, but her husband said, "Don't worry, honey, your uncle is just a jerk. It's nothing to do with you." Then they left. Now, could I have apologized for missing her birthday and technically being the reason my dad did? Sure. Should I have? She's 15. One would think she's old enough to understand extenuating circumstances. Is that an unrealistic expectation? Update. Thanks to all the people that weighed in and gave me perspective on this situation. Between caring for my son and work, I haven't been able to read every comment. However, I have read a decent sampling, and all the diverse opinions help me to sort through my thoughts. I'll address a few common statements and then tell you what I decided to do. I know it is difficult to comprehend what a situation like this entails if you've never been in it. Several people have told me to take my niece out to dinner, and this will all blow over. I am now the primary caretaker of a disabled child alongside working a full-time job. I am in massive medical debt and will probably be filing bankruptcy in the near future. Taking people out to dinner is not in any sense a realistic proposal. I have a time deficit and a money deficit. A lot of commenters also made mention of my sister and her parenting in a negative light. My sister is an amazing person and mother. Despite what I might be feeling towards her husband right now, she is the world's greatest big sister, and I am blessed to have her in my life. She came through for me in so many ways during all of this, as she has many times before in my life. That brings me to my decision. I made the difficult judgment call that I didn't have the appropriate emotional resources right now to handle this conflict without potentially causing further rifts in the family. I wrote my sister an email expressing my gratitude to and love for her. Then explained that I am going to be limiting contact with her husband and daughter temporarily while I handle the situation with my son. I don't have the emotional strength right now to address the issue with them and be 100% confident that I won't say something I might later regret. I told her that however she needs to handle my decision, I will accept and respect. Just sent the email, and I am nervous. Even with everything going on right now, I am scared of possibly losing my closeness with my sister. My son is my main priority though, and I have to focus on him. Thank you to everyone for our perspectives. The wide variety of responses helped balance me. And some of you might be the reason I didn't make a big mistake like calling up my brother Tinflaw and cussing him out. Things will be difficult moving forward, but I have hope that they will improve with time.